welcome to The Jersey Doesn't Come Off. And this is as you all know, this is our season of guest stars. And this is also our hot takes episode. So here with me today, I have
Your boy AJ Reimer.
And your taller and less handsome boy, Connor Johnson. And let me introduce our guest host.
What's going on, man? My name is Eric Lyons, the host and creator of the Electrified podcast.
Eric, you want to tell us a little bit about Electrified before we get into these takes?
Man, so Electrified with Eric Lyons, sports podcast, man, but you can come there for all of the, I cover everything from on the field, off the field, issues, race issues, women sports issues, all that good stuff, man. I've been doing this for almost 3 years now, so it's a pretty good show.
I like it. I've definitely listened to a bunch of episodes. I'm definitely a fan. Freddie, AJ, I'm going to tell you a little bit about where me and Eric, how we became friends before we start into that, if you're cool with that.
Of course. You know what I'm saying? We gotta get acclimated to our new guest star, and so the people know what's up.
Yeah.
Eric, I believe we met at York College like 3 or 4 years ago at an accepted Students Day, and then I don't think either of us ended up going to York College after that.
No, sir.
Yeah.
Nah, man, we were like I think because I didn't really vibe with anybody else at the little group, and you were the tallest guy there, and I was probably like the shortest dude there, so it was only natural that we linked up, and we hit it off pretty well. Yeah, man, it was pretty dope, but yeah, didn't stick around there too long. No, sir.
Nah, that's just what I remember afterwards too. I just remember everybody there being just like square as hell. And I remember this one girl and her mom were just being obnoxious as hell in the communications area. And I just remember me and my dad were just talking shit about them the whole drive home. And I don't think I ever considered going there again after that.
Oh, sir.
But then I think me and Eric followed each other on Twitter after that, and we've just kind of been in communication through there.
Yes, sir.
So that's our history, Freddie and AJ.
Yeah.
Nice.
Tough.
But yeah, me, Freddie, and AJ all went to Temple together up in Philly. Eric.
Okay.
Yeah, man. Well, me and AJ, we met at the bookstore.
Shout out Barnes and Nobles.
Shout out Barnes and Nobles. Shout out Victor.
Yes, sir.
All right, Freddie, you want to take it away with our first take?
Yeah, all right. So we're going to start off with sports, then we're going to go music, and then we're going to finish it up with culture. Really, it's basically anything goes. We're going to vote on them after everybody presents the takes.
Correct.
So, all right. I'm about to kill me with this take.
Okay.
So, I was telling AJ this take at the end of the pod last week, and so you know how right now everybody knows that the NBA is LeBron's league?
Right.
And then everybody has been saying that after LeBron is done, it's going to be Zion's league.
Okay.
I actually think it's going to be Ja Morant's league.
Oh, wow. Okay. What's your argument behind this, Fred?
So, I remember when Ja Morant was at Murray State. And while it's very common for the 12 seeded teams to kind of start saucing all over the bracket, Murray State kind of sauced a little too long. You feel me? And
they definitely overachieved with him.
Oh yeah, that really caught my attention off the rip. Then he gets into the league, and he has this poise and this IQ that you don't really see from a lot of rookies so soon.
Right. I see it.
So, and then he's coming in making all these insane plays. He looked like a magician out there, right?
Right.
Making all of these insane plays. And on top of that, he's not scared of anybody. He was out there trying to
Okay.
yam it on Kevin Love. He told James
Almost
Harden
in his career.
after he shot a three in James Harden's mitt, he said, "Tell that motherfucker about me."
Ooh.
That James Harden, MVP of the league, you're saying, "Yo, ask about me." Like that to me is wild. So I think that
That's your take. Huh? Okay.
yeah,
like
I
it.
think by the time the league, like because it slows down for like rookies and stuff like that at different points in time. I think when it slows down for him, um, he develops a little bit more. He gets a little bit better shooting, a little bit better on defense. Like, and he has the work ethic. Like his dad drilled the work ethic into him from being a kid up until now. I think all of that stuff together between the he's got the dog in him, the killer will, and he's very selfless. Like he's always trying to get his guys involved. I think that this is going to be Ja Morant's league.
All right, I got one question for you about this. Why Ja Morant and not one of the other young players? Why not Zion? Why not Cade Cunningham? Why not
Luka?
Luka? Why not?
Luka,
why not? Yeah. Why? What sticks out about Ja Morant to you? Because my take's actually similar to yours.
So, all of these younger players, don't get me wrong, like are killing it right now. Like I'd even go as far as like Donovan Mitchell too, Jamal Murray also magician, and Jamal Murray's like poise is also like it's just different because he's been meditating since he was a kid, so he knows how to like control his energy and stuff like that.
Right.
But like, all right, Zion is nice. Luka is, we know how Luka is.
Okay.
But with all of these players, like I love watching all of these players. Like they're all exciting to watch, but Ja just excites me in a different way. And I think that, okay, like Zion has like this pure athleticism. Luka he's been a pro since he was like 12 years old, so he came in.
He's so skilled technically. He's perfect, it seems.
Yeah, his fundamentals are off the charts because he had no choice but to develop the fundamentals. And while that is like a common joke, like, oh, white players are all about the fundamentals, like the fundamentals are they're key because when you have to slow the pace of things down, athleticism is going to make you want to jump more, and the fundamentals are going to want to make you like take a step back. So that helps you with controlling the pace of things. And like while all of that stuff is great, Ja's highlights, like what he's doing on the court it's insane. Like I'm not really seeing that with a lot of the other young players, if that makes sense. I mean, like I said, all these other players, like they're 100% killing it in their own ways, but they all have like different attributes that are putting them in different calibers or whatever. Like Donovan
they seem
Mitchell,
like they have like flaws and stuff that they could like improve on, where Ja you see is more well-rounded as of now.
Yeah, like I said, like don't get me wrong, like Ja definitely has like quite like a bit of stuff to improve on. I mean, it's like it's only his second year in the league, but I think that the more he improves, we're good. Like that's what we'll be seeing. Like I think it'll be like LeBron, Lakers, retires, potentially like the Nuggets take over, and then everybody's trying to run through the Nuggets, and then after that, Ja will have had all of the the pressure or whatever of having to run through the Nuggets and get his ass kicked for year after year, and then now he's just that guy. I think that's what is going to happen.
Okay, AJ, Eric, you guys, what do you think about that?
I think with it's like really a toss up between Ja and Luka for me, because like Luka like I remember like before he got drafted, like seeing his highlights of like when he was in the European League, and just seeing that like he wasn't like most of the like not non-American players, how like they normally come in like, oh, like this guy's a really good shooter. Like he just, ever since he was a kid, he was built for basketball. Like literally, like he was built for basketball. So with Luka, like I just feel like he's poised for to be one of the best players, like maybe top 3 once like LeBron leaves and all that. But with Ja, like I don't know, I have to agree with Freddie. Like with Ja, like he's more poised too as well. And if he has, if he has, and if he's put, like, if he's surrounded with like with talent, like he could potentially be like a really like the Grizzlies can be like a really good team. So I don't know. I feel like it's really up. It's up in the air once LeBron leaves. Honestly, for any player. So it's just you got to see how they all turn out to be in like 3 years from now. So yeah, that's my take.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that one. When you talk about LeBron leaving and the throne being up for grabs, you talked about John Morant and his how he was ducking on people, right? I think about his style of play, and I don't wish injury on anybody, and I don't like to speak injury into existence. But you look
I know
at
where you're going.
how I mean you look at D Rose, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I look at John Morant, he's bouncing out the gym, he's dunking on any and everybody. He's high motor, high power. He's always on 100. He's never 50%. But it can be your downfall, especially when there's nothing around you and you feel like you have to play that way night in and night out to keep your team in the game. So you look at his style of play, and then you look at Luka. Luka's game is more reserved, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
more, it's more team oriented. I mean, he's a dog. Don't get me wrong, he's a dog and he's going to score, but he's not doing all of that. So I look at longevity, right? Potential longevity, who can stay away from injury longer. And I love Luka, right? I really do love Luka's game. I think that he is a killer. His buzzer beater, especially the one he hit in the bubble,
Mm-hmm.
that was nuts. And I knew it was going in. I knew it was going in. That was nasty. So when I was saying this a couple of months ago when LeBron is done, I think that Luka is next up. I'm not too big on Zion, but I think that Luka, he's young. He has like I think the closest LeBron like tools to me right now. So yeah. But I can
That's
see where you're
fair.
going with that though.
My take is about Luca, so I'm gonna keep my comments till I make my take in a little bit. But I like John Morant a lot. I like that his game, as Eric said, is built off athleticism, but he can do other stuff. Like he'll be able to shoot well, he'll be able to dribble and come off pick and rolls dominantly, so in deep into his career. Because if you look at like Westbrook right now, part of why Westbrook now is not the player he was 3 or 4 years ago is because he's 3 or 4 years older and didn't get that much better of a shooter to kind of offset that. And Ja already feels like a better shooter than Westbrook ever was.
Definitely.
In a way. Like I'm not too familiar with his like 3-point shooting and his jump shot percentages, but I know he's a better shooter than Westbrook statistically right now. And if he gets better, he'll be able to lean more on that in a few years and become more dominant. Look at how Kyrie when he came into the league. He was not really a jump shooter when he came into the league, but he worked on it and now is a close to an elite jump shooter in the league.
Yeah. Also, too,
So
bro.
I
Like,
like your take.
not continue. Oh yeah, I was gonna say, man.
Like,
Got you. But you're right, and I mean also too, like when Michael Jordan came into the league, everybody was touting him as like his jump shooting was his probably worst trait. And
yeah.
the more that like the older he got and he wasn't able to jump out the gym, right? Because he's 30, 31, 32, 33 or whatever now. He's got to rely on his scoring ability from his jump shooting and stuff, and he was able to develop that. And so I feel the same way with Ja. Like as long as he can develop that some more and just keep it going. And then, like y'all was saying, barring injury, because I 100% agree. I would hate for this to be a Grant Hill situation where everybody's like, "Yo, it's about to be Grant Hill's league," and then Grant Hill's got the ankle injury. He gets bounced around from teams, and then he's out the league. So is I and yo Eric, like, watching, there was one dunk that Ja had in the bubble where when he landed, I flinched because I was like, oh my God. If he doesn't learn to land right, you're going to have to throw my whole take out the window.
It's sad because that's entertaining, right? We love to see guys put their bodies on the line like that, go up there, do the crazy dunks, do the, have the crazy finishes. But it's like, you can't do it correctly or a safer, more career lasting way. It's not going to last long. Like, you look at D Wade. D Wade learned to change his game. D Wade used to play a type of real physical Westbrook type game. Then D Wade, his knees, they checked out, right? His knees said, you know what, I'm going to head out. And then he had to work on his mid range and work on making his jump better. So it's all about evolving. And some guys can't do that. So it's going to be a matter of, can Ja not keep his base, right? What he's good at, also well rounded. So when the time comes, he has to stray away from the the dunk and the the high octane type of play. What else can he be good at? And I think that's what's going to make your stick. I mean your tick stick is if he can learn how to do more than what he's really great at. You know what I mean?
I agree.
I think that was a good place to cut off, not cut off, but like end off Freddie's take about Ja. Anybody else have any last words to say about that one?
No.
All right, AJ, you want to give us your take?
Yeah. So my take is a little bit weird. So you know how there's like 4 major sports? It's like football, basketball, hockey, and base. It's football, basketball, hockey, and baseball. Yeah. So I'm thinking esports is literally the next wave of sports, like of it becoming possibly a main 5. You know what I mean? A main 5.
I like that take, AJ. This is a good one.
Yeah,
this is a cool one.
Yeah. So like I was doing a little bit of research and I saw that they're in talks of adding esports into the Olympics in 2024.
Yeah.
Which is like, come on, like that's like at any height of sports, that's as big as it that's as big as it can get possibly for anything, no matter what it is. Like,
oh, absolutely.
Like they're, you know what I mean. So like, and also for the 2020 Olympics, they're talking about Intel is doing like a tournament, like a 2 or 3 day tournament before the Olympics starts. So it's like they're basically with the two they're gonna like have players compete in like Rocket League and Street Fighter 5, I think.
So like the Olympians are performing.
No, like it's a pre-Olympics type of thing. It's like a pre-Olympics event. It's not really included in the Olympics, but it's an event that happens before the Olympics. So it's like a little bit of like.
So is it with pro gamers?
Yeah, it's a pro. Yeah. These are pro gamers. Yeah.
Tournament.
Yeah, and it's happening in Tokyo as well. So it's like it's still in the same generation. Yeah, and like. And I saw a few years ago, Philadelphia was like talking about, or they were in plans of adding like a huge like multi-complex like esports stadium in Philadelphia.
Right.
The Fusion, it's like Fusion. Yeah. So like, I think right now like we're in the early, like, you know how any sports like with football, basketball, they had the ABA, like, you know what I'm talking about? Like there's the early.
Yeah.
So like we're in the very early stages of esports where like maybe like 20, 30 years from now, it's going to be as big as like how pro gamers are getting paid right now, like $1 million contracts. Like, and like, I feel like we're in the early midst of it. So like, I feel like if your kid's not athletic, they don't have a chance of going pro in like any sports, encourage them to play some video games. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about?
Well, AJ, I don't know how much this is still going on, but I know right when Ninja was popping off with
Yeah.
like doing his like Travis Scott and Drake streams, and like
Mhm.
people were kind of like opening their eyes to seeing how much this shit
That's
can make
dude.
you.
That
I know there was like hundreds of Fortnite coaches being hired for kids like around the country.
yeah. I
And
remember
you could like
that.
buy
Yeah.
a Fortnite coach for like 2 hours or whatever.
And
I'm
continue.
Yeah.
There you go.
I was just gonna say that, and over in Korea, they have like 40,000, or not, maybe not 40,000, but like 20, 30,000 seat stadiums that we would use for like basketball and like hockey and stuff. That they just go in and watch people play Overwatch, and
Yeah.
it's like a huge event in like Korea and like a lot of Asian countries right now. So I think you're absolutely right about this take, AJ.
Yeah.
I'm a vote now and just say this is a good.
Dude, thanks. Like it's just crazy how like in other countries they have like specific like areas to where like people can rent out a spot and like play video games for hours. It's like renting out a hotel room, but you literally sit there and like play Overwatch, Fortnite, whatever, and they'll serve you snacks. Like it's crazy how other countries are doing it, but like I feel like it's slowly starting to be more acceptable. Not acceptable, but like encouraged in America. Like I feel like there's a lot of places that are doing this type of stuff. You know what I mean? So yeah.
All right.
So AJ, bro, listen, man, I hate that take because it's the truth. Man, I
So,
really
AJ,
do. Like,
sorry again, Freddie. My bad.
no, I was just gonna say, man, like, bro, when you even look at like what is on TV and stuff now, like when we were kids, you know, we had Disney, Toon Disney. Then that became Disney and Disney XD.
Yeah.
And you know, they're like streaming like video games and like streamers and stuff on Disney XD now. Like it's not the cartoons and shows we used to watch. Like the days of like, you know, Jake the American Dragon.
Yeah, exactly.
They are over. They are over.
They're
long gone. And you know, it's you can see it growing. Like my brother doesn't even watch television shows anymore. I couldn't, like, if I ask him like right now what his favorite TV show is, he'll be like, he'd be speechless.
Yeah, he already know what to say. He'd probably say SpongeBob or some shit like that.
Yeah, I think because of the following, and then also too, it's just because like you already have so many people who play video games and they're trying to like watch other people play video games to figure out their game and stuff like that. Like even if you're just casual with it, you know, you're gonna end up you end up watching it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I think because of that, even the passive viewer is going to cause this thing to blow.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to have to disagree. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Let me tell you why. I'm telling you, I get it, right? The magnitude of gaming is huge. Everybody's streaming. There's money in it. It's so big that I can see it imploding. You think about each league that you name. They all have a union. There's a union. There's there's money involved. I don't want to go around to make this a real established major sport. And I think it's so worldwide. How can you unionize a bunch of gamers? Right? How can you get a president of gamers association?
Well,
same way they do with the NBA. They have a players union
and then it's like
who's
making the money? There's no owners. Like how do you like where's the revenue coming from?
Yeah, they have to get some sort of. Well, there's already professional like Overwatch leagues. What I think is going to happen is each game is going to have its own league, and then there's going to be something bigger than that kind of connecting them. Like for example, like there's professional Madden players out there, and right now all they do is play in tournaments for money. Yet if you look at the NBA 2K league that's owned by the NBA, each team in the NBA has 8 or 9, 10 guys that play 2K on their team for them. And they're treated just like NBA players. Mm-hmm. And like, I agree with what Eric's saying. I think it's the same process for getting NBA unionized and like having their representation and like getting all that stuff for them. So like, I agree. I think Eric's point's right. I think that's just something they might be able to figure out.
Like I have to compare it to like soccer, right? Because soccer is such a like it's the most popular sport in the world. Like it's so big.
Yeah.
And then you have to realize that there's different leagues. Like there's the Premier League. There's the
Champions.
Champions. Yeah. So like there's different leagues for every club. Like every club's that are in a league. So you gotta like you have to break it up. You have to break it up piece by piece and like have to like what Connor said. Like with every game there'd be like a whole union for that specific game. You know what I mean? So if you want to play Fortnite, there'd be like a union for Fortnite. If you want to play Call of Duty, you'd be a union for Call of Duty. So I feel like that's you just gotta break it up.
And I think they'd have similar representation. Like I don't expect like Fortnite players probably would make more money as opposed to people playing like League or Smite or something that's maybe not as viewed or doesn't have the revenue money. But that's really no difference than like what AJ was saying. Is if you're in the top division in like a soccer league, you get X amount of money from the TV rights, as opposed to the second league, which gets a lot less. So I think it would work out to be something similar to that, if you have to do like money and revenue wise.
Exactly. Yep. I have to agree.
All right, Eric, why don't you give us your take? I think that was a good ending point for us.
All right, here we go. 10 years, right? 2030.
Right.
Pandemic's over. Hopefully the pandemic's over. You know, we're in a different world, right? We're looking at the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Highest paid player in the NFL will be a running back.
Ooh.
Yo.
Okay. Interesting.
I'm telling you. I'm gonna tell you why. Look at where we're at right now.
Okay.
Derrick Henry just had his fourth 200-yard game with 2 touchdowns. Right, that's the most ever.
Mm-hmm.
Look at we got Derrick Henry, Aaron Jones, Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley, Nick Chubb, all these elite running backs, Ezekiel Elliott. These guys, right? They're gonna want their money. You got Aaron Jones, especially right now. He hired a new agent. He wants to get paid. If it's not gonna be in Green Bay, it's gonna be somewhere else. These guys, they put their bodies on the line the most. Think that the running back position is the most physical position on the field. Does it have much longevity? No. But that's even more reason to pay them now. These guys get tagged. Even quarterbacks get tagged year in and year out. That pisses them off. That gets old. You look at Dak Prescott. I'm sorry, Eagles fans, I'm going to have to do this to you. But Carson Wentz getting paid before Dak Prescott was a federal crime. And you got
It's a
Dak
federal
Prescott.
crime for every other team.
He's playing on a tag. Plays on the tag, and then his ankle explodes, right? But meanwhile, Carson Wentz, he robs the bank blind. And he's not even starting right now, and that contract didn't even start yet. So
Carson Wentz beat Dak Prescott when it mattered last year. When the winner of that game in Week 16 last year, winner of that game goes to the playoffs. Right. Dak Prescott didn't win that game.
But tell me what happened the week after that.
The Eagles won the division.
No. In the playoff game last year, what happened?
Oh, yeah. Jadeveon Clowney gave a dirty hit behind
Right. Carson didn't finish the game just like he didn't finish the Super Bowl run. That's what we're going to say, right? Oh, okay.
I mean, the Eagles won a Super Bowl more recently than the Packers did, but
not without their $1 million quarterback. Let's not do that. Without their Big Dick Nick had to do that. He had to put the team on his back.
Right about that. But at the end of the day, him and Aaron Rodgers got the same amount of rings.
That's true. That's true, but we don't want to start comparing numbers because look,
numbers don't matter.
Super Bowl rings are a team accomplishment, but you're talking mano to mano, quarterback to quarterback, talent to talent. Who better?
Between Rodgers and Wentz?
Yes,
probably Rodgers. Okay,
all right. Now, as I was saying, I was rudely interrupted.
Okay.
Let me tell you. I think that the quarterbacks, they're going to lose value because you look at Derrick Henry. He's literally, he's carrying the Titans, right? I think that more running backs are going to start becoming the focal points of their offenses, and then it's like the money is going to shift because these guys they're not going to be wanting to play behind Ryan Tannehill, who's making 3 times their salary, but they feel like they're more key to the offense than them. These guys are gonna like Le'Veon Bell. They're gonna start sitting out, holding out until they get the bag. And I think that 10 years from now, these owners, these older owners, they're gonna die off.
Right.
The league is going to change, and I think that the running back will be the highest paid player in the league. I think that the running back's value will finally be appreciated.
All right, I'll start this one off. I right away both like and dislike this take. I think running backs are going to start to get paid more than they have the last few years, and I think that's because the running back position has recently evolved a lot. Like you look at somebody like Christian McCaffrey or Dalvin Cook or Aaron Jones, those guys are almost as valuable on screen plays and passing plays as they are as the running play. So Eric's right. As long as the running back position continues to evolve, and eventually you can see running backs that can just run full route trees and stuff in a few years, I think they will get paid. Like I'm watching Kareem Hunt just dust the linebacker right here on a beautiful route. As I
On a beautiful route. I thought
beautiful route.
I thought a receiver did. I looked up and that was number 27. I said, see?
No, Eric's definitely right that running backs are going to start getting paid more. I don't, however, think they're going to be highest paid position in the league, just because Eric made the point. It's the most physically demanding position in football when it comes to taking a toll on your body. And if you look at somebody like look at Saquon Barkley. I love Saquon to death. He may never be the same explosive athlete again after this ACL injury. And part of that is because he had a bad injury, and it also had to do with the fact that he has a really weak offensive line, so he doesn't get a ton of free holes. And if you look at a team like the Eagles, hypothetically looking back on them, the Eagles are a very good running team, yet one of their best rushers is like a 5'6" undrafted free agent who really isn't much of a physical talent. He's 5'6", 150. But the Eagles have very good, well-designed run plays and usually have a very good offensive line, which in a lot of ways does a lot of the work for the running back in general. So I agree with Eric, but I think we're going to see a lot more running backs sign contracts closer to what Dalvin Cook and Henry signed, where they signed 2 or 3 year deals for 25 or 30 a year, hypothetically. I could see that happening a lot more. And maybe 10 years from now, we could see a running back have a 2-year, like $80 million contract, and he could be one of the highest paid players in the league. I could see something like that happening.
So I would have to disagree. Sorry. Like, here's my point. So the NFL will always forever be a quarterback-driven league. Like, you can have an amazing running back. You can have Saquon. You can have Zeke or Christian or whatever. Yeah, but they're not gonna be the ones throwing the ball and like moving the chains as much as a quarterback is able to, right? Like, and also, I feel bad for saying it, but running backs are very disposable, right? Their career is. I know it's messed up. It's messed up to say, but like you got to look like I just looked up the rookies, the rookie running backs from the 2020 class. They have Clyde Edwards. What's his? I don't know how to pronounce his last name.
Blair.
Yeah, Blair. Jonathan Taylor, Deion Swift, Cam Akers, all having great years, and they're all rookies. So I don't. It also for owners, they're kind of hesitant on giving these running backs these big, massive contracts because they realize like if you want a contract here, you can leave. I'll just draft another running back and you can you know what I mean. So like, I do believe running backs will get paid more. Their contracts will get bigger, but they won't be the highest paying in the NFL. I think it will always be the quarterbacks that will always be the most paid in the NFL, personally. So
I agree. I understand where you're coming from, right? The league's always going to be QB driven. A prime example of why running backs are very, very important, even in the passing game when they're not involved at all.
Right.
Look at the Packers. That's how they went to the Super Bowl. They were running the ball with, who was it, James Starks, right?
Yeah.
After that, I bet nobody in here could name Packers running backs outside of Cheeseburger Eddie.
Yeah. That was my first dude. Yeah.
Hey, run the table season. Tom Montgomery was running the ball, bro. A wide receiver had to switch to running back. That's how bad it got. Well, even when you have a generational talent like Aaron Rodgers, these quarterbacks can't do it all by themselves because the offense will be one-dimensional. Now, are running backs disposable?
That's true.
Absolutely. Absolutely disposable because, it's always a next man up mentality. But I don't think you can go
Right.
from Aaron Jones type running back or Christian McCaffrey and then just go ahead and hey, you know what? We're going to let you go because we're not going to pay you. We're just going to bring up this random guy from our practice squad. It's not going to hit the same. Like, I bet if Aaron Jones left and Jamal Williams left and Tyler Irvin had to be the starting running back, I guarantee the Packers offense does not have any success. And I'm saying this because I'm a Packers fan, so that's where my viewpoint is coming from. But that's what
Right.
you think any system, even though even through the Patriots years, they had some random running back in the backfield, but it was always talent. Who they had? What? Brand. Yeah. And then Belichick and Brady always go find some random white guy who can run the ball, and that's just the craziest thing to me. But it works.
Patriot
way. The Patriot way. It works because you got the play action, and these guys are catching screens and doing whatever they want. So I get it. It is a QB driven league, but I think we can all agree that running backs do play a very important part in most.
They absolutely.
I agree. Like they do. Yeah, for sure.
I think what you're saying is pretty accurate. I mean, like, yes, right now it's a QB driven league, but you're right, bro. I think if we see a lot more positions, well, not positions, but we see a lot more players at the running back position that are like, yo, I need to be getting paid because I probably will not be playing this game when I'm 30.
Mm-hmm.
If you have like they basically like unionize across the league and are like, yo, we need to get paid, then yeah, I think that it's gonna happen. Also, too, side note, I'm sure OJ Simpson is loving this conversation. But that was it.
Okay. All right, I have one more point to make about this whole thing, and that is, look at Kareem Hunt a few years ago. Kareem Hunt was a third-round pick in order to replace, I forget who they had, but they had Jamal Charles. He was drafted to replace Jamal Charles. They could have re-signed Charles at 28 or 29, however old he was at the time, and go with him as the running back. Instead, the Chiefs drafted a guy in the third round making $450,000 as opposed to $12 million a year, and produced pretty much the same and was arguably better by midseason. So if you're the Packers, Eric, why would you sign Aaron Jones to a $15 million a year contract where you could go spend a first or second round pick on Chuba Hubbard and get the same production next year and save that money and go get Aaron Rodgers, another receiver?
I mean, I get that. I do.
That's my argument for running backs.
I get that. Yeah, I get that. I get the pain. Pain is all.
Like, I do believe running backs should be paid more for their, like, they are the ones that are getting the most beaten, like, up. They're literally throwing their bodies into these linemen like every single play. So, like, they should be they should be at least paid for what they're doing. I get, but like, yeah. So
I think that. With my problem, one more thing, and then we can go and move on. I think my problem comes because I talked about this on my own show. I did a whole show about all-pro first-team finesse, about these quarterbacks who aren't good, who are average as hell, are making way more than elite running backs. You look at Sam Bradford, robbed the bank. Brock Osweiler, robbed teams blind. These guys rob teams blind and aren't even in the league anymore, but got bags. You know what I mean? So I think that's where a lot of running backs' attitudes are. It's like, dog, it's like, yeah, guys have a Cinderella season and then go get a bag somewhere. Nick Foles go gets a bag. Nick Foles ain't did nothing since. Right? It's just it's a wild landscape when you look at the pay scale in the NFL.
Shows you how important teams value quarterbacks.
Definitely.
All right, I'm gonna go with my take here. I think we're gonna do 3 40-minute episodes roughly with these. Freddie, you're cool with that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we'll record them all now, but we're gonna edit them down to 45-minute episodes and release them as 3s. All right, my take for the sports section is kind of a 2-parter, and I'm adding a second part because of what Freddie's take was earlier. My original take was Luka MVP this year, and my second part of that is European basketball is going to take over the NBA after LeBron leaves. And here's let me give my reasoning. Shortened NBA season this year. A lot of these teams like the Nuggets, the Lakers, the Clippers, these guys were all playing like 2.5 months ago. They're not going to be going full out this season and trying to get that top seed, especially with limited fans. Home court advantage is not going to be that big a deal in the playoffs this year. So I think the Mavericks are going to be the top seed in the West. Luke is going to be the MVP. I'm not saying they're going to make it to the finals, but I think they'll have the best record in the West this year.
Interesting.
And my European part is, if you look at the Dream Team in 1992, their goal was to push basketball to the rest of the world, and it did. It's just now paying off. Because if you think about it, 1992, if you're 15 or 16 in 1992 and you see the Dream Team play against your country in basketball, you start playing basketball at 16, you're not going to be making it to the pros. But the kid you have in 1999 who has your really good athleticism or whatever genes or whatever strengths you have, grows up playing basketball, happens to be 6'7", 6'8", well, now he can play in the NBA because the Dream Team came there in 1992. So this is now kind of the Dream Team generation of European players. And if you look at the way the Europeans teach their players, is they teach their players similar to how they teach soccer over there, which is everybody's trained for dribbling drills, everybody's trained to play perimeter defense, to move your feet, everybody's trained to shoot the ball, regardless if you're 7 feet tall or 6'1". So it's creating a lot more well-rounded, team-oriented players, which I don't want to say are hard to come by coming out of college, but I would think that they're less likely to find a player as rounded and as team-oriented as somebody from Europe coming out of college. Like if you're talking about like these one-and-done guys. My thinking is, if you're a star point guard, right, in high school, you're probably shooting the ball 50-60% of the time your team shoots the ball. If you're really good in college as a freshman or a player like that, you're still probably shooting the ball 30-45% of the time for your team. You get to the pros, that ain't happening unless you're James Harden. So you got to learn to play as a team in the pros. And I think that's what a lot of young players in the NBA really kind of struggle with, is because they've been the man up until then. You get to the NBA, you're not the man anymore. A lot of these European guys come in and they're like, oh, well, I'm just another part of the guy on the team. I got to find what this team needs me to do. I don't know if that takes a little unfair to like the college players coming out, but that's just kind of the way I see a lot of players and a lot of things right now in the NBA.
Man, yo.
That's a lot, I know.
No, you should just, I've said this, I forget, you need to be a salesman because you know how to shovel the wildest takes and make them make sense. Because, I'm sorry, seller, but I'm not buying today.
Okay. What?
Now, I hear what you're saying about the European. So, all right, let me start with the Luka take first. The Luka take, fair, right? Usually MVP goes to the best player on the best team. If you got a bunch of guys going half tilt this season because they played like 70 days ago, you're more likely to see somebody who got bounced earlier on in the bubble, even if it was in the playoffs, like the Mavericks did, really start to shine this season. So that's not as wild. Like, that's fair. I don't really agree. I think that if anything, Damian Lillard, you could also argue him because they both for like MVP, because both of them got bounced first round, so they both had about the same amount of time to rest. CJ has gotten his back together. I don't know the status of Kristaps. Some of the players that were really shining on the Mavericks, like Seth Curry and all of them, aren't really there anymore. So you kind of got like a new cast that you got to figure some things out with. Meanwhile, the Trailblazers, they have a better caster. They've gotten people back that like they've been had basically.
Right.
So it's a little bit less of an adjustment for them, and the chemistry is still more or less there. And so that's why I would say Dame may be MVP this season. But the European thing. Now, here's my thing with the European thing. You're correct in saying that European ball is much more team oriented. And if you look at what's going on in America, you got a lot of kids going to AAU where everything is basically okay. You get the ball.
Skills development.
Yeah, it's all about AAU is more so about like who can look the nicest and who can do like a 360 windmill dunk in transition, trying to show out for scouts and stuff like that. It's not really about team ball. And you also see, I know a couple of years ago, I want to say Chris Paul had said that, you see a lot of kids going the AAU route trying to get scholarships and stuff like that, as opposed to trying to build something with their high school teams. So that's fair. But, right, you've also seen quite a few players who went to high school opt and go to the G League as opposed to go to college. So I would argue that you'll see more G League players or players that go to Europe and then come back in the league as opposed to players who are coming out of like fucking war-torn Poland or whatever, and now they're hooping with the Mavericks or whatever. Like, I think it's definitely you're going to be seeing more of that than anything else because of all the controversy that we've seen with the NCAA and how they're not really trying to pay folks, and the controversy that we saw like with James Wiseman and everybody. I think, yeah, that's where I'm at.
Okay.
What about y'all? Am I bugging or is
no? Because European players, they scare me. I'm not gonna lie. Like I feel like, that's my thing. Like when Luka and them was beefing with the Clippers, I feel like a lot of guys on the Clippers was taking Luka lightly, like he was just some random white boy. I'm like, dog, he from just as much as from the hood as y'all is, like, and he from like a real like different hood. Like,
go outside, was eating raw potatoes on the street. Heard you?
Like for real,
he's
like
potato like it's an apple.
Yeah,
he outside dribbling watermelons because like the soldiers took all the basketballs away from the town. Like, yeah, like him, Dragic. Dragic scares me too. I feel like he's a cool guy. Like Dragic seems like a nice guy. His voice isn't that deep, but Dragic could probably kill us all. Hey,
that's fair.
I like for real, but no. All jokes aside, I get it though. Like, I mean, like European players, same thing. You look at, go deeper than that. You look at like how black players.
Look at Giannis.
Right? Yeah, right. You look at like how leagues start off one way, like whether it's like all white, or black or whatever like that, and then international, it's going to be a melting pot at the end of the day. It's going to be a melting pot, and I think that more European, the game, you got social media, the internet, it's all around the world. They know what the sport is. It's easy to learn. That's not easy to learn, but the information is very accessible depending on where you are. And yeah, man, there's going to be I think there's going to be another big wave of European talent that's going to be on like a Luka level, especially because at how fast they go pro. Like dog, Luka has been playing pro since I was probably like
16.
Yeah, like dog, he was supposed to be somewhere watching Disney Channel, but he going up against 25 and 28 years old. Like, nah, that's not normal.
He's going up against men. He's playing men when he's like 16.
Grown men. Like, that's not normal.
Like, we were all chasing tail at homecoming, and this dude's out there playing grown men in Spain.
He's
grown man basketball.
Posted up by a man with an eye patch.
Yeah, I don't want that smoke. That's not the type of smoke I want. I'm good.
All right, AJ, what do you got any takes before we wrap up the sports?
Yeah, I see with like you said, like Luka could be like MVP of the season, right? Is that was your
yeah?
So
yeah, part of it. Yeah.
So I felt like if Porzingis, if he's healthy like throughout the whole season and he's able to play like he was when he was on the Knicks, then it opens the floor up for Luka and he's able to do more things for him. So I feel like if Porzingis is able to stay healthy, then I could definitely see for sure Luka to be MVP for this upcoming season, because the way he was playing in the bubble was I remember the Last Dance with Michael Jordan when he played against the Celtics, where he just went completely off on.
Yeah.
Do you remember that when he went like on that
Yeah.
loaded Celtics team? And like Michael was like, he was having like the game of his life. Like that was Luka's game against the Celtics team that was just straight up loaded. Like they had no reason. Yeah. They had no reason winning the games that I think they went to the game 6, right? I'm pretty sure they went to the game 6, right?
Against the Clippers, yeah.
Yeah.
Clippers, yeah.
Yeah. So like they really had no business even. They could have won one game, but like for them to win the way that they did was impressive enough to say the least. So I think for sure like Luka. If he plays the way he was playing when he was in the bubble, has a really good shot of winning the MVP trophy this upcoming season. And I did like the comment you made where for 1992 Olympics when the Dream Team played, right? And how like all the now that like the European players that weren't able to go to the league because they just weren't able to, like had children and they had their genetics passed on, and like you can and it's definitely prevalent because you can see players like Porzingis, Luka, Giannis, Giannis, he's European. I wouldn't say Joel because he's in Africa, but like I mean maybe
he's still an international.
Yeah, he's a national player. I did love. I loved how when they did the All-Star, they did like the draft, and when Giannis was picking his players, like at one point it was literally all international players at one point, and that just shows you how big the game has gotten to where like these players are all-stars and they're like, you know what I mean, and they're international players. They're not American, like, so it just shows you like how like big the game has gotten. So yeah,
right. We didn't even mention any of the Canadians.
I was gonna say R.J. Barrett, Andrew Wiggins.
Canadians don't count.
Jamal Murray.
Jamal Murray's nice though. He's nice, man.
Justin Thompson is a Canadian. He don't.
Nah, we don't. Nah, he doesn't count. Nah,
that don't count.
That's why he cheats so much. Is he's Canadian.
Wow, that wasn't nice.
Damn. Well, I was gonna say like men don't cheat, so like couldn't have been anything else.
True.
It is true. That is.
Couldn't have been anything else.
That is a fact.
Oh wait.
Never cheated.
Somebody brought up Giannis. One of my other hot takes that I took a lot of heat for a long time ago. I said Giannis will never win a championship, but I'm not gonna go deep into that. We don't have to do that.
That's a good way to wrap it up, though. I think this is good takes we got here. Eric, any final? You want to plug your podcast before we sign off?
Yeah, man. New episode of Electrified dropping Wednesday because everybody gonna be snowed in, so I'll drop that on Wednesday. So yeah, man. It's a weekly show. Tap in. You know what I mean? It's a great show. If you like sports, you like culture, all that stuff, man. So yeah, definitely tap into that. You can find it on any DSP, all that stuff. So yeah.
Hey man, you're gonna have to get some more music episodes. Maybe you'll have to invite some of us on someday.
Yeah, man, I would definitely like to, work with you guys again, man. And I'm 2021. I plan on branching out, outside of sports. So I can't give you guys all the deets, but yeah, big things, big things, big things coming in 2021.
Rings and things,
Yeah. Get my minds and things back.
Thank you all for joining us on our Hot Takes episode. I hope we didn't piss any of you off too bad. Thanks for listening. Please like and share and tell your friends to listen to us. This has been Connor Johnson,
Freddie Goodman,
AJ Reimer,
and Eric Lyons.
Thank you all for listening. Enjoy.